Two tons of fun.
Well, alright.
Two tons of fun.
Well, alright.
Two tons
Welcome.
of fun.
Well, alright.
Episode 19, censorship. Jesus, 19 episodes, guys. We made it to 19. We're gonna get canceled on the
It's
20.
unbelievable.
I don't know how
It's
I
unbelievable.
made it with you two. How's everything going today? How was your guys' week? I haven't talked to you.
Oh my goodness. Qantas, you want to go first?
No.
Oh my goodness. This week has been interesting. I went out last night for the first time in like forever since the pandemic. And
Wait. Wherever you went, did everybody have the vaccine?
It was majority of the places I was at was outside, and I live in Minnesota, so we're pretty vaccinated. But I'm assuming most people were vaccinated. But a bitch has been to Miami and all these other places. You know, you would have talked to me this time last year, I would have been screaming my head off. At a point, pandemic is over, I guess. I don't know. No, but it was fun. I went to go see Ashanti. Minneapolis Pride weekend is this weekend, and that was fun.
It was a big venue.
It was outside.
I'm saying
it was outside of a gay bar. A lot of people did. There were no seating. It was all standing. It's called the block party. It was like they had blocked off a block. Downtown Minneapolis. And it was funny because I was telling people, I'm like, oh, Ashanti's gonna be performing. And they was like, no, that's not her, that's a drag queen. I said, no, they can't use like someone's name without it. Like, so a lot of people didn't believe me because there was like no big advertisement for it. I was like, it's for the kids, it's for the kids.
Wait, what?
But it was a lot of fun.
No, you said it was for Pride. How's it for the kids?
It's for the family. Okay, that's
oh, you guys call yourself kids? Hold on, I just learned something new today. Wait, what?
So, but what was funny is I went out and I was like expecting to go out and to meet new people and to mingle. I'm like, I kept having people, because I dress very hey, look at me. So every time I go out, so I was walking over here and then this other I just had people bumping into me from all over the place. And then I have kind of quit smoking and I wanted to bum a cigarette from this guy, and he's like, my wife thinks you're so cute. He says, I said, can I have a cigarette? And he said, yeah, if you take a picture. I said, okay. So why, when I go to take the picture, it's just me and him? I'm like, okay. I'm very confused.
Wait, it was like his wife was
his wife. He's like, my wife
he had a trans woman.
No, he had a cis woman. He's like, my wife thinks you're cute. And then he's like, I'll give you a cigarette if you take a picture. And I was like, okay. So then I go over to take a picture, but it's just with me and him.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I was like, oh. Did your wife give you the green light? Is that what you had to get permission from the wife has to spot him out and him out and be like, okay, yes, you can like let that one do you.
Sound like they're recruiting you for something.
I don't know.
You can let that one do you. So,
undercover.
But no, I had a lot of fun last night. I realized that I am 33, not 23. So yeah.
You gotta go in early and take a nap. You can't be up 3 days straight anymore.
No, I didn't get home until like 6 a.m. It was crazy. It was definitely crazy, but it was needed. It was needed for me. So I had a great time. I went out with my sister. So cool. Lots of pictures.
All right. Qantas, anything going on in your world? Something you got to promote? Anything?
Daddy daycare.
That is not daddy. This is granddaddy. I keep telling you.
Daddy.
If you have a kid after age 50, you are a granddad to that kid. You saw that thing I had posted in the group when somebody was like, my cougar said she pregnant. He was like, I don't want no grandbabies. That's your granddaddy status where you have them there.
First off, how the hell is a cougar pregnant? Second off, you shouldn't be trying to get no cougars pregnant. That don't even make sense. I was trying to understand that post. I didn't understand it.
It was hilarious to me, but you didn't get it.
I mean, I kind of got it, but I'm just like, I don't get When I think of a cougar, I think of someone almost that has gone through the change already. So she shouldn't be able to get
A cougar
pregnant.
don't
Oh
have to go through the
no, a
change.
cougar could be 30 something and the boy could be 20.
No. Cougar has to
You
be
can have it. My mom was
at
a
least
grandmother
50.
at 32, dude. Come on.
Don't matter. That's not a cougar.
Thanks to
That's
you.
not normal. It's not normal.
Thanks to Qantas,
that-
my mom was a grandmother at 32.
What do you mean? Thanks. That's the daughter that got pregnant, not me.
But you got the mom pregnant early enough for her to be a grandmother at 32.
No. Thanks to.
How old was she when she had her
I didn't
first
do it by
child?
myself.
All right, whatever.
Nobody does it by themselves.
We're not gonna do this. We'll say that for another episode. We do the marriage and divorce, and I don't know. It's another episode, but we'll get right into it. We'll start with you, Qantas. Do you feel that the founding fathers got it right with the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution with respect to speech, free speech?
Don't worry about that fly. The founding fathers, I'm not that much of a fan of the founding fathers. I've been going through that, trying to re-educate your brother on these presidents. So this is not a good time to talk to me because he swear George Washington was good. Explaining to him he's not that good. None of them guys are good. Because
the way you got to present it is human duality. So that's the only way you can really make that argument. Yeah, they had good things and they had bad things. It's all humans are.
I mean, the idea of America in its conception was good, but no. What was the question again? Not really.
Do you think they got it right with the First Amendment?
You threw them off when you said founding fathers.
Yeah, I don't like the founding father stuff.
No, it's fine. No, so we might can do that episode of that in the future on human duality, and we all are walking contradictions, and in some aspect or another, we contradict ourselves on the daily basis. All of us.
You know, the more and more I research the slave trade, the more and more it invalidates those guys for me. 400 years? 400 years? That's a long time, man.
No, I get it.
To enslave people.
And I get it. And I totally
and build the economies of some of your most powerful nations in the world today and not want to compensate those people.
Even
for
crazier
the atrocities and things. No, I don't.
They couldn't even distinguish, like, even when they get a slave pregnant, that they enslave their own children. That's some of the craziest
That's
shit
crazy to me.
But at the end of the day, he still never answered my question. Did they get the First Amendment right? Because this topic is about censorship.
Well, read the First Amendment. Let's go through it line upon line.
No. Now you're going to go into a whole nother subject.
Everybody open your Bibles.
Do you believe
let's read the whole thing.
This is not a service. Do you believe in the right to free speech?
Can't answer. I got a right to
Do
answer
you
the
believe
question
in free speech?
I believe in free speech as long as it doesn't damage other people, of course.
That's the damn First Amendment.
No, but read it. Let's see what it really says.
I've read it before. I know
we know that, but let the audience. Some people don't know. Some people,
the book of John, chapter.
Some people don't know. Read it.
This ain't that kind of show. The whole thing. The assumption is that the least the guests or the people we're talking to that knows the basic premise.
There's no definition to this show. The show could be what it want to be.
No, it ain't finna be preachy and
I know.
I'm not trying to preach on nothing. I just said read it so that people could know. Some people actually do not know that may be tuning into this what the First Amendment says.
That's why I just defined the clause I'm talking about, the free speech clause. I ain't even talking about the freedom of religion part of it. I'm not talking about the freedom of press. I'm talking about the freedom of speech. Speech not meaning just words. Speech in the sense of, you can burn a damn American flag and not go to jail. That's freedom of speech.
You can't even paraphrase that part then.
I just did. You weren't listening, obviously.
Paraphrase it. But
I just goddamn did. I can't with him today.
So we have the right to speak freely?
Yes.
What does it say?
Oh my God. Let's leave him alone. Cass, I'm not gonna do this. He's just avoiding the question. Do you think the founding fathers got it right with the First Amendment with respect to speech?
Yes.
How so? There's no flaws in that line there about speech. That one line. There's just one line in there about speech.
And you
You
can't
know,
quote it.
I think that
I just
um,
read it before we came on. Yeah.
I think freedom of speech, or really, if you want to look at it, how we interpret it today, freedom of expression. I think it's highly important. Um, and I think Americans in the United States, um, you need to stop. Americans in the United States, particularly, do not grasp how different their life would be in other countries for saying certain things,
Mhm.
posting, I mean, even to this day, posting certain things on social media and um, being able to freely do
Excuse me.
that. That to me is extremely important when we have to this day in the world where people are not allowed to openly, freely express themselves. Everybody always tells me, why do gay people have a pride parade? Why isn't there a straight parade? Because straight expression is expressed every single day of every single moment. So the gay pride parade was an expression of our existence and our being. So I think freedom of expression or speech, as stated here, is paramount, and it shouldn't just be um, it shouldn't really be
And
like
get
a
and
perk.
to be fair, straight people have the right to create a straight pride parade if they want to. And nobody's
It's
gonna
not
stop them. And
necessary.
but
Every
I'm just
day
saying,
is
no, no,
a
no. Look,
straight pride parade.
that's the clause in that First Amendment. They had a right to do that if they
Yeah,
wanted
but
to
they're too
create a.
lazy. And you know what, they did do it. And you know what was at the straight pride parade? I mean, yeah, at the straight pride parade, bunch of white nationalists, Nazi sympathizing, racist, bigoted people. So when you start seeing it, it's so hilarious to me, especially in the African American community, when you see a group of people, and I'm not comparing homophobia to racism, but when you see a group of people that have been marginalized for such a long period of time, like Quantas was just saying, go ahead and then marginalize another group of people and be like, oh, why ain't there a straight parade? You sound just like the white people talking about why ain't there a White History Month when every damn day is white history, when every damn day is it's straight. I'm not gonna get on
All
that
right.
tangent, but
But
that's one of the things that
but
irks me,
even
and that's one of the things that's really important. It
I for,
shouldn't be
I
a
for,
perk of being an American
Okay.
that you get to
I
speak your
forget the
mind.
year. I
I,
forget the year. It was a year when the ACLU represented the Ku Klux Klan and their freedom, their First Amendment freedoms or the civil liberties to march. I think it was somewhere in Illinois. I want to say a little bit. It's one of the suburbs around Chicago. And they and ACLU represented them because the city tried to cancel their First Amendment right to protest as the Ku Klux Klan. And they said they did that in defense because if you allow this city to do that, next what's going to come is the cancellation of Malcolm X. And they said, but the ACLU was a big supporter of Malcolm X at the time. So they defended the Klan's rights in order for other people to have rights. Because yeah, you might slander them, that group, and that. So it's a tricky
okay.
issue.
It's not tricky. It's not tricky at all. Let
I,
people say what they
I
want to
pulled
say,
it
and you
up
can
for myself,
participate with that.
Malachi. And this
Go
is
ahead.
what I get from the First Amendment
Go ahead, fine.
concerning freedom of speech. It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging of the freedom of speech. That's having to do with the government. Should the government interfere with your freedom of speech? That has nothing to say about nobody else. Should they make a law? So, as far as I'm concerned, people are free to be against something or for something. The government has no right to pass a law to stop your freedom of speech.
The
And
government
that's
doesn't.
and that's for negative or positive.
What's your point?
My point is, did the government get it right? That was the question. Did they get it right in that aspect? But is it being facilitated? And that, I don't believe in some aspects. I believe the government oversteps their boundaries.
How so?
Just like you said with the Klan has a right if they don't want to like black people. and say it, they have a right to do
The
that.
government tried to do that, and the ACLU beat the government in its own case. That small local government, because you got to realize there's different levels of government, right? So that small local government in Illinois got stopped from shutting down the Klan because the ACLU took it to a higher court, and then and they won on their First Amendment rights, even though the Klan is stupid as hell. One of the dumbest organizations. You're gonna create a whole organization just to try to keep this dumbass divide between white and black and some stupid ass oppression, right? It's stupid. It's a stupid ass organization. But
back to the topic though. The topic of this program is censorship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's just the First Amendment is only dealing with the government. However, I believe that private institutions have a right to censorship.
As long as they're not collecting government funds.
We get in the head of ourselves.
That has nothing to. There's
it's got everything to do with it. If you collect government money,
reclaiming my time. There's nothing in what I just read that says except they receive government funds. Nothing. All it says is that Congress shall pass no law. It says nothing about them receiving government funds.
To play devil's advocate, because I'm not
first
hold
off,
on, let me say this.
First off, when companies
hold on. He said Congress should make no law. Congress has to pass laws for funding.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
So they made a lot of fund that. They made a lot of fund that organization.
Thank you.
Let me read it again. Prohibiting freedom of speech. It's not that's not because you get government funding. If that's the case, you can't get tax refunds. You can't get rebates. You can't get certain things.
Tax refunds are not funding. Tax
rebates
refunds are. You've overpaid.
Child credits are. Child credits are. Child credits are. That's the government giving you something. So no. That's a stretch.
So wait,
that's
people now? Wait, so now people are corporations?
So wait,
that's nothing in there about corporations.
With that, hold on. With that logic, you would say like a government can't. Like when they fund private universities or give them grants and stuff, they say you got to meet this academic requirement for what we're gonna fund for you to test these students to, because otherwise we just giving you money for free to fucking not teach them the right thing. So that's not right either.
No, nobody's saying that's right or wrong. We were saying according to the Constitution. According to the Constitution, that has nothing to do with funding. That the government's not backing you because you get funding from the government.
So you think the Ku Klux Klan should get government grants?
I don't have a problem with it.
You sick. I don't think the government should fund it.
And
I don't think the government should do anything.
But that's why whenever I talk to Qantas, I say, because his namesake is I always have this joke. I say, you always giving grants to people that don't qualify. In order to get a grant, you have to qualify. Who creates those qualifying factors? Our Congress. We create laws. In order to receive certain monies from our government, you have to meet a certain threshold of qualifications. So no, and this is what I wanted to go into too. Freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences. You've got all the rights to have your freedom of speech and your freedom of will, but the minute that your freedom begins to encroach on my freedom, there's an issue. So you can believe what you want to believe, but there's going to be consequences if your freedom begins to encroach on mine to exist. So that's the thing. And at the end of the day, if I'm the government and I'm writing you a check and I says you need to meet these qualifications in order to get this money that I'm about to send you, which is a law by Congress, since we want to be all up in the Constitution, then you
just
are taking money.
Find what you saying out of what I just read. You won't find it.
Laws. Congress shall make no law.
Prohibiting.
There you go.
Prohibiting freedom of speech.
Yes.
Okay, you know there's a bunch of acts that come after that, right? We got
then you're gonna have to have the Constitution.
All right, listen.
You asked me about that one thing.
But listen,
this is not a.
You got the Disabilities Act.
This is not a parliamentary.
It's Disability Act that say you can't receive funds if you discriminate against people with disabilities. You can't receive government funds. It's Civil Rights Act that say you can't discriminate against these certain groups. They got protected groups in this country.
We're talking about speech only in this aspect.
I'm just saying. I'm not
talking about the Klan hanging people on trees or threatening people.
You just said they should receive government funds. You turned it into something else. We weren't even trying to go down that path. You turned it to the.
Kaz is the one did that.
No, you did that.
I said, and y'all on the replay, catch this. I said, according to the question that I was asked, it was only talking about freedom of speech. Then Cass says, well, they shouldn't receive government money. Why? Because I voiced something?
No,
because I voiced something?
That's not what I said. I didn't say they shouldn't receive government money. I said, if you are going to receive government money, then you have to, if you're receiving government money from the United States of America, all of the people, then you have to be inclusive. If you want to be a private institution and you want to take your own money,
no, that's a stretch.
Listen, no, it's not, because that's exactly what the ALCU did for the Klan. They fought for the Klan because the Klan wasn't receiving government money, and they got a right to hate and do whatever they want. But then we also have a right to not give them money off of the backs of my ancestors.
We're not talking about. I'm not talking about behavior.
So if you are
specifically talking about
speech. I'm talking about speech.
Your speech is protected. Your speech is protected, baby. You cannot withhold the government money from me because of what I speak or what I believe.
I can, because I'm the government.
No, that's too far. That's an overreach.
No, it's not. It's not an overreach.
That's an overreach.
So the government should just give you money because you exist?
That's not what I'm talking about. Now you stretching.
I
have a right to say what I want to say.
And you sure do. And the government has a right not to be
penalized by the government.
That's not a penalization. The fact that the government is giving you money is a benefit. That is not an entitlement.
No, it's not.
You're entitled to it?
No, it's not.
You're entitled to it.
You're not talking about your personal income tax return.
Thank you.
I'm not talking about personal income either. I should be able to retain my freedom of speech regardless.
You ain't talking about link card or Section 8.
I'm not talking about that either.
You're not talking about social
I'm
programs.
talking about freedom of speech.
He's talking about goddamn corporations receiving, like the Ku Klux Klan receiving funds from the government. No, the government should not fund shit like that.
Why can't a person have their own freedom of speech?
They can.
They can.
And still be treated. No,
you got bigots on every social program in the world.
You have, first off, you have regulations and you have qualifications.
Y'all missed the whole point.
No, you missed the whole point.
I didn't miss nothing. I read the thing. There is nothing in there about funds. Nothing.
About laws.
And that's why people steal to prohibit freedom of speech. You're trying to prohibit freedom of speech.
No, I'm not.
You all are judging the Klan on their behavior. I'm not talking about their behavior.
Ain't nobody saying lock them up. Nobody ever.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. You're talking about funding from the government.
So can I just get funding?
The government should fund racist organizations, is what you're saying.
So I should just get funding for existing? There are no qualifications for why I get funding? I could just go up and say, government, give me money because I just need money?
I ain't talking about
organization.
No, ain't nobody talking about individual programs. Klan members should still get their link, and they should get everything else.
That's not what I'm talking about.
But what he's talking about is a stretch with corporate. The Klan is an
First of all,
the Klan as an entity should not be funded by the government.
Is the Klan non-for-profit? Probably. I don't know.
It probably has exemption status.
So the same benefits that any non-for-profit gets, the Klan should get.
Ain't nobody say they tax exemption.
No one said anything about that.
He said direct government funding. You're not listening.
I'm talking about grants that you have to qualify for, that you are not entitled to, that you have to fill out documentation for, prove what you're doing. Grants, you know why you get grants? Why the government gives corporations grants? Because the grants go immediately and they enrich the community. So if I start my business for the arts, and I go to the government and I say, hey, I got this institution where I'm going to teach kids how to act and give a place for people to act and give space. The government's going to say, yeah, I'm going to give you that money because you're going to actually benefit your own community. The government does not have to give people that.
And they're going to tell you can't discriminate against gay people, black people, women, and everything
We're not talking about discrimination.
That's exactly.
That's what
I'm
the
talking
Klan
about.
will do.
There's a difference between discrimination and freedom of speech.
Oh my God! Now,
There's a difference between discrimination and freedom of speech.
All right, I want to make this very clear. I don't give two shits what anybody wants to say. Say what you want to say. Do it all. Love it. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech.
Nobody trying
You have that. I'm not trying to.
That's all we were talking about. All we were talking about was freedom of speech.
I said, however,
you try to make it a behavioral thing.
No, I'm not.
I said freedom of speech.
No one has said anything about behavior. All I said is this: you can have your freedom of speech, but freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences. There are consequences for your actions.
So you saying people can't say
at
anything? People have to watch what they say, or they'll get penalized.
Organizations do.
If what you say affects someone else's freedom to say something, yes.
How
Because
is it
freedom-
affecting someone else's freedom to say what I want to say?
Child, you have no
I
idea.
could
Okay.
believe the
what you
moon
live
is.
in.
I could
Okay,
believe
with
the
that
moon
said-
is cheese. I
Okay.
can believe the moon is made out of cheese.
Okay, with that said, okay, how should the government approach speech
Freedom
regulation?
of speech is already written.
No.
They
With
shall
that
make
said,
no
Kaz
laws
brought up-
prohibiting your freedom of speech. Period.
Let's get to where we should have some exceptions on that then. What about national security? What about revealing should a doctor have freedom
It's like
of
this.
speech
If I'm
to
no,
release
no,
your health
listen.
documents? Should
Of course not.
Here you
you
go.
be
know
able
better.
to
You got a
yell fire
perfect
in the crowded
example.
theater? Then damn, it's
You got-
exceptions.
I got the
Exactly.
perfect-
Those are the
I got-
exceptions.
No, those are not exceptions. Those are consequences to your freedom. You got the freedom to go in the airport and scream bomb, but the consequence to that is
We're not talking
you probably
about that.
gonna get that's freedom of speech.
What is the Klan saying? They believe they superior
Oh my
race.
God.
What is that? How is that hurting you?
I don't care.
All right
Bruh.
then.
It actually does hurt
That
us
shit
because,
when they get in
because
power
it creates
and
audit.
they got
It's called
hiring
You
practices.
got
What is-
other folks
what
saying the
is-
same
what is
thing on the other
no,
side.
what is the term?
Oh
You
my
got
God,
the
that is a
Nation of
false
Islam saying
equivalency if I've
the
never
white
heard
man
one.
is the devil. You got the Nation of
fucking
Islam
God.
saying the white man is the devil. So
Wait,
what's the
That
difference?
ain't even
Can I-
fucking
I'll tell you
close.
the
They don't
difference.
retain or have nowhere near the same amount of power.
I'm not
Don't
talking
even-
about power. I'm simply talking about freedom of speech. What you say
I
with
know.
your mouth, not
But I don't-
actions.
Okay,
Y'all
Quantum.
misconstruing everything.
No, I think you're not understanding. You have the right.
What
They
you
got
mean?
the right. The Klan has the right to say that. They have the right to say that. But then they also need to understand that they might be on a watch list.
It's okay.
For some of their language, for some of their speech, for some of the keywords that they say. They got all the rights in the world to say it, but the government also got a right to monitor your ass because the big famous thing that I've been growing up with is called radicalization. And just as we're watching what happened on January the 9th, was it the 9th or the 8th or whatever? The
6th.
insurrection that happened in January.
The
And what we're
6th,
learning-
Mr. Fact Checker.
Thank you. I don't know everything. Don't claim to. So everything that happened on January the 6th, and what we're learning is that some of the freedom of speech, which is wonderful, and I support 120%, help radicalize some people to target and commit acts of terrorism. So freedom of speech is great,
Hold on. Now,
but
let's
there
be
are
fair. Hold on, let's
consequences
be
to
fair
your
with that
freedom of
event.
speech.
There was some FBI.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about a
involved in that
specific
could've
event.
stopped that. Yeah, I'm talking about that event. Was the FBI informants were involved that could have stopped that event, but they let it go.
Oh, I agree.
And they
I
were
agree.
part of planning it too. So I don't know why the
But what-
government didn't take that
All
down.
I'm saying is that the reason I don't think Qantas is understanding what I'm saying. The Klan can say that they hate black people and that they're the superior race all they want to, but the government then has a right to go in and monitor your speech because there is a risk to national security because of radicalization. This isn't something that has never happened in our country before or happened in the world. We have had people, charismatic, we had the whole entire thing, World War II, World War I. You've had charismatic speakers in our history that speak, that get people riled up, that cause people to do things. Freedom of speech is important, and I'm 110% behind it. But I want people to understand freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence.
Well, let's move on.
You can say it 1,000 times. I just read the Constitution, that amendment in the Constitution. It
I
does
need
not
you to
say
make up your
anything
mind. You
about
either love these founding fathers or you hate the white man. I need you to.
You
pick one.
asked me to go by what was written.
You started the show off talking about, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't support this country. All these 400. Now all of a sudden
Right.
you want to give government money to the Klan.
We wasted a lot of
Make
time
up
on
your
this.
mind.
Let's move on. Let's move on to age appropriate content. So,
Get
okay,
your water in.
should there be some speech restriction when it comes to age or things that are consumed, or some kind of censorship when it comes to children? And what and who, what, when, why, the 5 W's, where and how, and like how do we know and how do we regulate such a thing? What is the age appropriate age? who should be responsible for this? Is the government? Is it a private institution? How do we know?
As far as I'm concerned, parents.
So what about crackhead parents?
I don't think crackheads should be parents.
But they
They
are.
are parents.
What you gonna do about that?
They need to have their children confiscated from them.
So who's gonna do this?
Who's going to decide?
government.
So
Don't we already
what
have one of
age?
them
What age
agencies?
should it be? You know?
They do confiscate. How you think the foster system is
Yeah, one of the systems
infiltrated
that
with
need
so many-
massive reformation. But like,
Yeah.
but
of
like,
which I'm probably about to have 2 foster children at the soon.
birth 10, foster 2, not birth, but
Well, Gabe want your I didn't mean to mention his name. I'm sorry. Your brother wants one or 2.
think he do. No, but like how the like I don't know. Like, okay, why is it okay for so much violence to be all on TV and all that stuff all the time? Violence is like so prevalent in our media culture. It's ridiculous. But like sex is like, oh my goodness, 2 people kissed.
Yeah,
oh my
it's
god,
That's not true. That's not true.
that is the world we live.
Everywhere.
Oh my
That's
god.
not true.
Qantas
I
lives in an
should
alternate
bring-
universe.
If he wasn't a minor, I would bring him on and let him tell you. He was watching something.
That's just one experience, though. That's
and he
everybody.
censored
All
himself.
children not the same.
Everyone is
Millions of
completely
kids
different.
alive, billions of kids in the world. But like, I'm just saying, like, so how do we really determine? Like, okay, drinking age in some countries it varies.
It's 18.
So, a
Bahamas.
lot of the stuff in developed countries like our country is a partnership with science. And it's also a partnership with where we look at trends and we look at statistics and we look at what has worked in the past and we look at what works now. And so like you'll see scientists say, well, you're an adult they say the their brain doesn't stop growing until 25, which is popularly why you can't rent a car until you're 25 or why your insurance isn't
Is that
until
true?
you're 25.
It's 225. I didn't know that.
You can't rent.
25.
You can't rent a hotel until 25.
You can't rent a hotel.
That's not true.
I'm sorry,
It
maybe
is true.
21. Maybe 21.
It's
It is 21.
25.
I made a lot of babies in the hotel.
I'm telling you where it
Under
is
20.
now. It's 25 because
no. He
couldn't-
talking about a motel. It's a totally different experience.
they'll let anybody rent it.
You got ID? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's the majority mainstream
That was the
companies
wrong
don't
accent.
let you
This
do
is
it
wrong.
until they're
It
25.
should have been this one. You
So
have
it's
got ID? That's the
these-
accent.
to answer Mally's question, who kind of sets these regulations or on the government? Well, I think a lot of it should be on
government.
parents, but I think a lot of it should fall on parents first off. But we don't live in a perfect world, and some parents aren't able to make these choices and make these decisions. And sometimes, but like you said, we have the foster care system. America's foster care system is one of the brokest systems in the world because its goal isn't the
It's the
to
best
help
the world has,
parent.
to be honest with you.
You
should
know what
see
our
what they do.
foster
You should see
system-
what they do with orphans.
You
in
want to
China.
know the goal of our foster? I ain't gonna even
It's
say
horrible.
foster
It's
system.
horrible.
Our family court is to reunite that kid back with
Yep.
their parents.
That's the goal.
Regardless, that's their goal. Typically,
But to not give the parents any resources, to not help the parents get clean, to not help the parents get a good job, to not to make them
only-
make just enough money to not be able to qualify for something.
the only
it's a
time
failed
it's kind of
system in
difficult is
itself.
if it's somebody else fighting for that kid. But if nobody's fighting for that kid, they gonna put that
Okay,
kid back with that parent.
okay,
If
since
if
y'all
that
gonna go-
parent
let-
beat the
since
living
you-
shit out of them, they don't
Since
care.
you're gonna go down that rabbit hole, Mr. Malachi,
Oh, yeah.
Mally, you have personal experience with people that have been through the system.
Multiple.
Now,
Dozens.
I can think of a very shining example where the system worked, and that person is actually a part of your family tree.
I consider every foster kid that come through my family as part of my family forever. But at the end of the day, I'm just telling you how that system works. Most of those kids, let me tell you something. First off, most of those kids, hold on. First off, most of those kids get touched in that system. First off,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
almost all of them. It's ridiculous. That's the biggest problem. Number one. A lot of people are in it just for the money. So they're just gonna try to just keep a kid there, to mistreat them, to see them like second-class children. Now the person that you're talking about, I know you brought this up, but the person that you're talking about that I know that fostered a lot of foster kids, and there was a person in that older age, and they had time and to develop and help these children as best as that person could. But that is not always the circumstance. For the most part, that's a broken system that needs reform. And that person there went through so much with people lying on that person, whereas there's a lot of problems, and that's why they got out of that system. And because it was like, this system is trash. I barely get money to take
and it's hard to adopt.
Because
the system is about reunifying kids with necessarily people that they may not ever be able to be reunified with.
That's another topic.
You've got parents in the United States that want to have these kids, that want to adopt them, but cannot adopt them. Our adoption program is so freaking strenuous that Americans will go out of the country and adopt kids because it's easier than to adopt the kids that we have here that need good parents. And we have good parents.
This is a good topic that we need to tackle.
Yeah, we're gonna table that, but like at the end of the day, to finish this, it's getting late. Let's finish this last point off. Like, so how do we figure out what's age appropriate content? Who's supposed to decide that in our world? Is it the government? Is it some private institution cast as science and coupled with the government?
What I was trying to say, it's a blend. Currently where we are, it's a blend. So based off of statistics, based off of history, so I'm in the entertainment business. I work on stage and everything else. So all of these things, like I talk about content warnings and trigger warnings, and people kind of joke about them, but we see them every single day. PG, rated G. So the government says, well, this is G because it has none of this in it. Now, if you grew up in your household, Mally, and the same household I grew up in, some of them G movies we weren't allowed to watch because it was witchcraft and it was the devil and it was going to make us turn us gay. So ultimately, it's up to the parent, but the government will look at trends and say, okay, well, you can't be showing penises and vaginas to 10-year-olds. So I'm going to say no, they got to be 18s. Science says, statistics say 18 is a reasonable age for them to see these things without an adult. We consider you an adult at 18, but not adult enough. Wait until you're 21, and then not adult enough. Wait until you're 25. So it's a menagerie of it.
Now I can speak on this from being a lifetime parent and then also being on the.
Hold on, pause. I need some definition and clarification. What the hell a lifetime?
A lifetime. I've never known
all my life. What the hell you think it means?
I never heard that term before. A lifetime parent. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm a lifetime husband. You know, all my adult lifetime I've been married. All my adult lifetime I've been a parent.
Okay, I just needed to clarify.
Whether that's a part-time parent, full-time parent.
I just needed clarification.
I've been a parent. So
all my life.
But I was on the parent council at Fernwood. What's
PTA?
The name of the school?
Now you're being too specific.
That's okay. That don't make no difference. But
you know, old people,
the reason why they had that council was because they wanted the parents' input. That's my whole point. So even though it was the government, the school appointed a parent council to help advise the school.
That's the school side of things.
All I'm saying at the end of the day, and that's a very vital role, and it took a long time to get to that thing. Even PTA, Parent Teacher Association, there's always been involvement with the parents and the government, which is just public schools, and so you've always had that.
That's a great American experiment.
The onus is.
I actually got a little bit of a beef with the PTA because it disproportionately represents the parents that come from the quote unquote better homes, like the mom or the dad
the parents that have time to do it.
Yeah, so like the struggling parents don't get represented, and I think it skews the data.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. No. Now y'all about to get mad.
Go ahead.
Some parents lazy as hell. Just like when y'all was at that school, okay? Mm-hmm. When you was at that school, they had a very good principal, okay? Mm-hmm. And he encouraged me to run for the school council. I had to run for that position, but I ran unopposed, and it was anybody could have got on there and ran. It could have been Joe Blow, it could have been a nigga on the corner, it could have been anybody, but nobody ran, and they had like 12 positions, or however many positions it was, and I ran unopposed because they had a couple spots open. All I'm saying is people are lazy, even in the morning when they wanted dads to come out. Now that school got, for some reason, people came out for that principal because he was a very good principal and he appealed to a lot of fathers. And the fathers in that neighborhood did start coming out. It didn't matter what they were. It's a village. It takes a village, and it takes people in positions of influence and power to stop being lazy.
So I'm gonna say is you got the luck of the draw on the principal side of things, because
he was Mr. Bond was a good principal.
Now you keep mentioning names. I knew his name already. You didn't have to tell.
Yeah, he was a very good principal.
Okay,
so old people.
But like at the end of the day, it's a structural. And what I was saying is these things disproportionately. You can say it's laziness. Half of the shit is it's a lot of good stuff out there that's just not marketed well. People don't know about it, and people don't know what to do to get on it.
I seen
a lot of stuff.
Hold on, I seen Pookie get on the board. I seen them go ahead and help.
Talking about one personal experience, I'm trying to talk about systemically. So systemically, it's bad marketing in the system. It's real bad at outreaching and getting the information to everybody. Secondly, people are busy as shit. Some people are working 2-3 jobs. Like, this is what I'm saying. So
Malachi,
we have overall societal structural flaws like that have to be addressed.
If I drive through your neighborhood, okay, and I'm not saying this to be stereotypical, I see niggas hanging out on the corners, so they that busy. I see daddies hanging out on the corners.
Can I say
that
something?
busy.
That might be 10% of the population.
I will say something. I think that
it look like 100% of the streets.
One, like Qantas was saying, is that the government and the parents have always kind of had this thing, but that's the American experiment. The American experiment is democracy. Give people a voice. I think as where we are as a country right now, we've gotten to a point where we've started to understand equity and understand that, yes, it's really easy just to say all of these people are lazy, but I've also started to learn that some people just don't know about the information. And yes, you may say, oh, the information is there, and because you did it, they should be able to do it. I think everybody has that mentality, but we all have our handicaps. We all got our mental handicaps. We all got our social and physical handicaps. And so what works for you doesn't always work for someone else, which gets into this thing called equity that we're learning and trying to experience right now. I was just reading something about they have a tourist problem in Maui and Hawaii. So their solution to fix that is to just make it really expensive so that people can't come. That's really not a solution, because that's only going to gentrify, or only if you got money you can be there. So that's really not the solution. And I think we need to figure out and address a problem with equity instead of doing the lazy thing and saying, well, everyone's just lazy.
We got off topic. What you talking about is it's an economic term. We look to find the right point.
And all we talking about.
But let's get back into this antitrust.
For the censorship,
back to
who should be setting the precedents?
Okay,
that's what the hell we was talking about.
And that's what I was talking about.
That's literally what I was talking about.
I'm talking about when he got into
it's on the parents.
We're gonna leave this topic. We're gonna move on to this antitrust.
No, I'm gonna leave that. It's on the parents.
Fine. We're gonna move on to the antitrust. So are social media companies public utilities, or are they just private companies? We'll start with you, Qantas.
Are what now?
Social media companies, Facebook, Twitter.
That's private companies, man.
So they don't fall into the same category as a telecommunication company? No?
It's a new experiment, to be honest with you. This is new.
It's some
my words.
It's some business whole livelihood.
You put them in the atmosphere. You lose. Once you put in the atmosphere,
he can't be thinking. He can't think for himself. He got to steal my time.
I can't think for myself. If I wasn't so rambunctious on this broadcast, I would be just following your lead. Are you crazy? I gotta go against all
y'all kicking into this personal riffs all damn show. Can you
That's
just
what makes the show good. Go ahead.
can you get into the answer the question? Are they?
I think
No, the government should not be controlling the social media things.
So it's okay for them to control our internet companies and our cable companies and our satellite companies, but not the social media companies.
Now, here's why I fall on that. Internet, because some countries do control the internet, but the jury's still out with the internet.
Our country control the internet. What are you talking about?
I know. FCC.
All countries control the internet.
They control all the communication with the FCC. So we got cousins that do this. He was a lawyer for the FCC. I get that. I understand that. And then somewhat you do have to, when you're a government, you do have to be in control. I'm quite sure when the founding fathers wrote all that stuff, they didn't envision, unless one of them was Nostradamus, they did not envision all this complexity that's going on in the world today. Who would have thought it?
Are they utilities or not?
At this juncture in my deliberations, yes.
Cass, same question.
So I'll give a small soliloquy.
You want to come in?
This happens every time I get one of those questionnaires or survey they fill out. They ask me about how do I feel about companies like Google or Facebook being broken up or antitrust laws and such. And I never know because I just never really, I don't know enough information about it. But the way that you talked about it and the way that I start to think about things when it comes to regulation is who does it affect? And in the beginning, Facebook was a college platform that was a way for college students to communicate. Today, it is a way that we communicate with the world. So it publicly has the
pause real quick. Which one is more important, a website or Facebook page?
Facebook.
Okay. So finish your
websites are almost obsolete today. The thing about Facebook is I can get onto social media, and we saw it last year after the protests here in Minneapolis, how a protest happened here in Minneapolis because of social media, but also because of everyone has a phone. But even with everyone having a phone, everyone's not going to get that image. Things go viral because of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, so and so forth. So because it really has the capacity to bring about great change, good change, it has the capacity to create the insurrection that happened in January. I do think we do need to look at it as a public utility and regulate it to some sense, because it doesn't just affect a small subset group, it affects the masses. And that's how I look at regulation.
Yeah, I think Facebook has almost 3 billion users. To put it in perspective, right? That's probably more than internet providers.
Same thing
right?
with Amazon, Google, anything that can actually cause real life change in a matter of moments.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Needs to have some type of regulation. And I think it's weird for us because we have been in a technological boom. So I grew up with no internet, then grew up into internet, then grew up to camera phones. Then like my dad had a camcorder with a big old VHS. That doesn't exist anymore. So you've got kids that are 10 years old, 5 years old, walking around with phones, and we get to watch videos of people throwing cheese on children to make them stop crying. Like it's crazy. So this you didn't see that video? It's hilarious. It's crazy because the technology is moving faster than we can even comprehend it or understand whether it needs to be regulated. And unfortunately, because human beings are greedy and evil, there's a lot of evil shit happening.
Yeah, I personally started out on the side of it was a private company. They started their own thing from scratch. They made their own money, and they should be able to do what they do. But I probably maybe 3 years ago, I evolved on this issue. After I seen Twitter delete the president's account, I said, "Whoa, they're that powerful that they can silence a president of the United States." That was after the riots and stuff, and I get why they did it, but I still think it was the wrong decision. So like, it got interesting to me. I was like,
people like that wrong decision though.
No, I'm not saying what people like or not, but like it's a slippery slope. I remember when they They kicked Alex Jones off. They kicked Louis Farrakhan off, and they kicked a couple of more. They kicked a lot of people off and just banned them because of their speech. And this is what we talk about censorship. You are a nutcase on this show. You say some crazy things, Qantas. I don't think you should be censored. I think you should be challenged, and I should be able to challenge your speech.
The question is, can Qantas mobilize millions of people at this juncture in his life?
But should that be left in the hands of a private company or the government? And that's when I say we started to have to invoke an antitrust laws. So who
I think it needs to be I think there needs to be a lot more it's not easy.
It's like this shit is based on the algorithm. When they canceled one of our people in the group, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Depending on a company's algorithm, it's a goddamn fly in here. I fucking hate flies. Depending on a company's algorithm isn't the right way because technology is always going to miss something that human beings can't. So there needs to be. It's not a black and white thing. Like I've been saying a lot lately. Everything's on a spectrum. Yeah, you're right. It's a gray area.
It's not black and white. It's an extremely tight line to walk because, like, again, I base regulation on who does it affect? Does it affect public? Is it public health? Is it public safety? That's what I base it on. I'm all about you being able, like, again, you have freedom of, is it censorship because I took the president off of Twitter? The president at the time had a freaking press room. He could have went there.
Exactly.
Like he
never utilized his press room.
Yeah. But avenues. But outside of him, what about a regular person?
Let me finish. A regular person isn't going to be completely banned unless they're inciting violence or insurrection. But what I'm saying is you can't leave that up to a fucking algorithm.
Right.
You think Alex Jones was inciting riots or Minister Farrakhan?
Yes, Alex Jones was radicalizing people.
What about Minister Farrakhan?
The guy that just stabbed the people at the there was the guy that drove his car, the black guy that drove his car to the Capitol shortly after, wasn't radicalized by Farrakhan. These people are charismatic.
What's the book? What's the book you read as a child, Qantas, that they banned? That book is not violent at all, and it doesn't incite nothing.
It's a different, but you gotta understand.
Was it To Kill a Mockingbird? I want to say. The dude say he killed somebody else because of the book. Like, come on, man. At what point do people have their own autonomy, man?
People will read The Wizard of Oz and kill somebody. So
that's fine. But what I'm saying is you have to measure things in the time that it's happening in. And like I said, right now, it's not black and white. And we need to stop making things like they're black and white. It's an extremely complex regulation, and it's ever changing because what Facebook is today is not what Facebook was 10 years ago. And the power that Facebook has today, it didn't have 10 years ago. Freaking Zuckerberg became a billionaire. Like, that doesn't happen. And so you've got people like Jeff Bezos, even this man, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to go to space. They don't. Even the people with the power have amassed the power so fast, they don't know what to do with it. And when change happens at such a rapid pace that we can't even catch up or comprehend it, it gets so complex. And that's the only thing I would wish. Yeah, you got the right to say what you want to say, but when what you say is going to affect millions of people, I've got the right to tell you cannot say it on this platform. You can do it whatever way you want to do it. That's fine, but I have to have public safety and health.
Well, one of the things that's going on,
unfortunately, human beings are fucking stupid, and they believe and listen to anything.
One of the things that I saw today that has to do with this was Joe Biden said that the social media, in particular Facebook, is killing people because of the misinformation concerning the vaccinations. And because Facebook is using algorithms instead of actually, physically going through everything, people are dying because of misinformation about vaccination.
Yeah, but okay, this is
not even just that.
Okay, hold on.
It's a simple. Wait, I want to say this one thing. It's as simple as conspiracy theories. I saw a video of a woman that's like, she took a thing with the vaccinated arm, no chip. She put one on this side. It said chip. It's like, oh, see, you got a chip in your body. In reality, she had a dog chip under her freaking sleeve. But social media took it and was like, oh, I told you, they put in chips in you. You're chipped now.
Yeah, but this is my thing. With all of that.
Stupid.
No. With skeptics anyway, they just find the information they want to believe already. It's not like what you think it is. These people are idiots. Nobody's being converted. Christians go out looking for more stuff to validate Christianism. Muslims go out looking for more stuff to
Mally, that's because we come from well-rounded homes and we actually have brains. Majority of human beings are fucking stupid.
No, I'm not.
And they will
telling
believe
you, they already
anything
didn't
and
want to
everything.
believe in the vaccine. You cannot keep that information.
No,
All right,
there
all
are
right,
people.
all right.
I
There
know
are
people that
people.
don't go on the internet, that don't got Facebook profiles. And
First
hate
of all,
vaccines. That's just how the game goes.
I can speak on this because
Please do.
I am not a supporter of vaccines. However, I have had the Johnson & Johnson shot. Personally, myself. Okay? Why? Because I actually researched it.
Only 2 out of 3 of us are vaccinated on here.
Yeah,
So
I'm not vaccinated.
So what I'm saying is this. I actually researched it. I researched the other vaccines that were out for my children and things of this nature. And I found defects and things in some of those things. It wasn't because of social media. And that's my whole thing to the people. There are problems with certain things. It's not actually the vaccination, it's the preservatives. Now, with this COVID shot, they don't use preservatives because it's frozen or it's stored in the refrigerator. That's one of the reasons I didn't have a problem taking it. But what I'm saying is people need to put truth out there with this information. I understand people.
So do you believe in censoring the truth or combating fakeness? I mean, censoring the fake shit or combating it with truth?
Just release the like
You-
it's just
you-
like to me.
what
I
I will say, I do love that I saw Twitter, Facebook, and a lot of the social media companies doing is now that they fact checks. They'll have an article.
Yeah,
And
fact check.
before you
That's
share
what I
it.
believe
Like
in.
if I see an article, I may have read it already. Like I get my news. There's a lot of people that fucking get their news from social media. Number one, which is
Most people do.
beyond me. So I may see an article that I like that I've previously read, but I see it on my news feed and I'll share it. Facebook will say, hey, you didn't read this. Are you sure you still want to share it? Or, hey, this was published 2 years ago, because people like to circulate stuff. And now anything with COVID, something
But
pops
Facebook
up.
fact check shit is flawed.
I believe in fact checking.
but
I
at
believe-
least
I
I
believe in
actually-
fact checking.
I
But
like
it's
the fact.
flawed. They lied about Russiagate. Donald Trump
Hey.
never had any association with the Russians.
Okay, I'll put it to you like this. Cass,
That's
you know,
another
I know over 26 people that died from COVID-19.
Mhm.
However, I don't know anybody that's had any complications with the vaccine. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. One. And her story, I'll tell you after off the air, Cass. Her story is suspect. But out of all the people,
All I'm saying is this. I'm not necessarily for censorship. What I am for is labeling shit what it is.
I
Like
was
that shit on
trying
Fox
to agree
News.
with you before
Yeah,
you
but
interrupted what I was
sometimes,
saying.
but sometimes
I'm for fact checking.
The
I'm
mainstream
for fact
media
check.
get it wrong too. The
No,
same,
that's what I'm saying.
the same
That's what
media.
I'm saying.
Hold on. The same media you
Rachel
want us to
Maddow.
trust is a liar. The same media that you want us to trust. The same media that you want us to trust. Let's go to Iraq. They got weapons of mass destruction. 5 years later, they tell
I
you,
don't want-
oh,
no,
Bush and
I don't
them was
want us to-
lying. They are full of
No,
shit,
Mally,
man.
that's not what happened. The media was only going off the information that the government gave them.
The government lies too. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
And that's fine.
We gonna
All
do
I'm
a
saying,
lot of
what
lies
I'm
with all
saying
this
is
shit
this.
years from
We're
now.
What
not
I'm
sa-
saying is this.
Don't
We have
censor it.
people
Let people come to
in
their
our
own conclusion.
government. We have people in our government. We have people at corporations that their goal is to purposely mislead people. What I'm saying is a show like
Right.
Tucker Carlson, that's fucking opinion. It needs to be a big old, like when I worked in the Navy, I had a top secret clearance. On the top and on the bottom of every document, I had to write what kind of material this was. Was it confidential? Was it secret? Was it top secret? And based off of that label, I knew what I could do with that material.
Well,
So,
Tucker Carlson,
What I'm
Tucker
saying
Carlson,
is,
due to
a show like Tucker Carlson, it needs to say opinion.
hold on,
Opinion.
a
In
court-
big,
according
bold
to
letters.
a court case he just had, he was labeled opinion, and so was Rachel Maddow. Both of
No,
them.
but not two. But
Both of them do the same kind of lawyers work for both.
What I'm trying to say is,
wait, Cass, hold on.
This is true.
Let's park
Look it
the
up.
brakes right here.
Look
no,
it up.
I'm not. I know he. Listen,
Rachel
He
Maddow
just
lied.
compared Tucker Carlson.
Rachel Maddow lied and said somebody was a Russian agent that wasn't, and she had to say.
Listen, what I'm saying is this: I'm not debunking that. What I'm saying is that it is not. Some people believe that they're telling the truth.
Let's fact check Mr. Malley here.
Fact check me. I already know.
So did she go to court?
Yes. She set the precedent for what Tucker Carlson went on. She set the precedent.
Yes. Okay. What? That's not my problem. And that's not my problem. And that's not what I was saying.
You watch NBC and believe MSNBC.
I don't even hardly watch the news anymore.
First off, all I was saying is that if you're going to give an opinion, it needs to be made known to the masses that your show is an opinion show. It needs to not leave. Like just at the bottom of breaking news that we got to see every goddamn time when it's the same damn news story over and over, it needs to just say opinion. This is my opinion. These are my opinions. It needs to say it at the beginning and at the end. Because unfortunately, like I said, human beings are fucking stupid. They're not like me and you. They don't know that that's a fucking opinion. And that's why the whole country's fucked up.
I am as stupid can get. But
you know that Tucker Carlson's opinion, you know that Rachel Maddow's opinion, but you got country bumpkins down out in rural Minneapolis, that Minnesota, that think Tucker Carlson is God's gift to man.
I've watched both of those people, and Tucker does not come across like it's his opinion.
Who's Rachel Maddow's mentor?
Rachel comes across like it's his opinion.
But who's her mentor?
It's like she's telling
y'all getting into semantics about the concept. All I'm saying is label
I just want him to know who
label it.
I already know who her mentor. That's not what I'm saying.
The dude that used to run Fox News that raped all the women over there.
When I watch Mr.
And
Moderator,
Tucker Carlson started at MSNBC. All that shit
when I watch Rachel Maddow, I don't come. All she does is she says things that make you go, Now, when I watch Tucker, he's coming like it's the gospel. That's all I'm saying. And
know
it's
they
not.
audiences. That's all.
What I'm saying is, both of them are opinionated. However, one of them doesn't come across like this is the gospel
liars,
truth.
and both of them have some facts.
I'm gonna agree with Malachi, but this is why I'm so happy and I'm gonna agree with Qantas because he said this earlier. It's the parents. I'm so fucking happy that my dad ingrained in me to be a free-thinking individual. I trust nothing. I double check it, fact check it, reread it, go over it again. Because all I'm saying is everyone's not like me. And when I'm thinking a lot about regulation, I'm thinking for the public, for public health, public safety. It just needs to be known that it's opinion. And that's not what they're doing. Rachel Maddow needs to have a big ass opinion sign. Tucker Carlson needs to have a big ass opinion sign. People need to know that these are not facts. And so that's the problem with what's going on, which is what I was saying. I like that social media.
We're gonna make
I like that social media has been.
That's why I like Shepard Smith, because all he does is report the news.
You like him because he's homosexual.
No. He reports the news. He doesn't put his spin on things.
That's standard.
You want to know what's going on in Congress? Flip on C-SPAN. Sit there and watch it, and you'll see what's really happening.
That's too boring.
I just wish it was hot mic.
Because it's not opinionated.
Yeah, because it's just facts. It's just it's just what's happening.
Spruce it up a little
bit. It ain't necessarily facts.
And that's the problem.
Because they play the shit lying-ass Congress, men and women say. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
let people call in.
We live in a society.
It'd be funny when them crazy people call in. They just be like, "Okay, next."
We live in a society where majority of marketing, majority of anyone that's in PR, anyone that's ever been in PR knows that the goal is to spin. It's to spin. It's to manipulate the truth. It's to make purple look like blue.
Well,
that's the society we live in.
It's better than North Korea.
They're doing the same thing. They just do it to an extreme. It's called propaganda. They just do it to an extreme.
We still got.
We are one extreme. No, listen.
No,
we are one
Donald.
Who's better?
We are one Donald Trump away. We are one Donald Trump away from North Korea. We are, and that's the problem.
He said the system that I elect Donald Trump weak ass, Joe Biden weak ass, Barack Obama weak ass. George
Come on.
Bush, weak ass.
That's the
Ronald
problem
Reagan
with
is the
people.
best. This is
And that's the
trash.
problem. That's the problem
All
with
our last presidents
nationalism.
are
What is
trash.
better? Okay, what country's better than this one?
I'm
Ain't
not
no country
necessarily
better. They're all
certain,
flawed.
but this is what I will tell you.
Which country has the best system?
This is what I will tell you. Our system sucks because they allow so much money in our politics is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, the reason no companies won't come, no media companies won't come against the healthcare industry or the doctors and stuff is because they buy pharmaceutical commercials all on their goddamn networks. Why you gonna mess your money up? Come on, man. You can't see the corruption. It's obvious. It's blatant.
I just think that we need to stop using the best. And yes, America has a lot of great things going.
We can work on it.
She's got a lot of bad shit going. This idea of the best is ridiculous. It's what breeds white supremacy. It's what breeds nationalists, and it's what starts propaganda. Because I'm American. I'm from the United States of America. I'm better than you. No, you're a fucking human being just like me. We all have our fucking flaws. Let's learn how to live here and be here together. That's the problem. So ain't no country the best.
All right, that's Cat's final thoughts. Qantas final thoughts.
That's not my final thought.
All right,
not my final thought.
Final thoughts. I asked for him a while ago.
I just asked him which country's got the best system. He couldn't even.
First off, goddamn it, Mally.
Probably somewhere in Scandinavia.
I don't know why you
yeah,
sitting up here
Delaware
like,
with a,
no,
yeah,
not Delaware is a state. Scandinavia.
Not
Denmark.
No. What's the other country? Denmark.
Denmark.
I think it was a D.
Oh, Denmark, where the slave trade started. First off, I don't know why Mally is sitting over here like we got a production person in the back doing this. Wrap it up.
I told you like 6 times. He don't hear me. He don't fucking listen. Neither one of you.
I said I don't know why you. It doesn't matter. It's a show.
Yes,
so
I have
what?
to
We go
pee.
10
I'm
minutes
trying to
over.
get this shit off.
Always gotta pee. In continent, what is
everybody? That's
in
the
continents.
truth.
Is that
Get
it?
you a bladder bag.
That's why we gotta have it in an hour, because I always have to pee within the hour.
You peed at the top of the show.
This
You
is
peed at the top of the hour.
What the fuck is you talking about?
The show don't get lit until like that last 15 minutes anyways.
Yeah. Y'all gonna come on. Let's wrap it up. I gotta pee.
Fine.
I gotta urinate.
Y'all argue.
I
I'm gonna
go.
go pee. Y'all can argue. I'm going to pee.
I gotta urinate. Look at him. He always gotta urinate. He urinated at the top of the hour, at the bottom of the hour. What is up with
Not
that?
even at the top of the hour. He peed while we were before we went live.
No, he needs to
All I
attach
was saying, but Conti,
that same
will you
thing
agree-
that Todd has.
Yeah, I know. Will you agree with me though on this? I'm all about freedom of speech, but I'm all about labeling things. I'm about content warnings and trigger warnings. I think if we had those, people could make better decisions.
Yeah,
and better
especially
sound
on
choices.
some of those opinionated news programs, because people need to know. They used to do it on, you know what? When I used to watch television, there was a show called I think it was the FBI or something, and they would always put on the characters in this are not real.
Yep,
They're just based on this and this and this. And they used to always do that. They don't do that now. They don't do that in movies now.
They do for certain things.
But they used to do like a
They do it for South
voiceover.
Park. South Park, they do it for South Park all the time.
These
The show you hate
characters
to watch.
are not real.
But
Any
so why?
coincidence.
So wait,
is
so if
purely-
you'll agree to a content warning, why won't you agree to a trigger warning? What's the difference? Are trigger warnings like really censoring your speech, or is it such a big deal to say, hey, some of the things that I might say might trigger you, so you might not want to? I'm just all about giving the person, the
I agree.
consumer, the freedom.
I would agree with that. With the trigger, with the content one, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Because Mally
Especially
don't
with
like
children.
Wait, no, mofos. I have asked for us to put.
Oh, we don't
trigger
need one on
content
this
warning.
show. This show.
Bad. No, because this, you know what you do. You know what you do when you guys want to talk about your freedoms. You know what you do. You take someone's right away to decide whether they do want to sit here and listen to it. Because what if it is triggering to someone? Because I got triggers, and maybe
You
I don't
act
wanna,
like
maybe
first
I,
off, you act like we know what the fuck we gonna say before we come on here. We have no
We have
idea.
an
This is
idea.
live.
everything is a trigger.
I blame big corporations for giving regular people the power to go to live with no fucking live training at all.
Stupid.
What the fuck? We're supposed to go live. We have we got like 40 episode experience of
know.
live, but like we've gotten better. Like if you look at our first lives,
Oh, it's gotten better. It's still a hard garbage mess, but it's gotten better.
We've gotten better. All
Well,
right.
my final thoughts, all my final thoughts was I love freedom of speech. Freedom of speech isn't freedom of consequences. Label your content. Trigger warnings, content warnings. Give people the choice to whether if they want to consume that content or not.
My only beef with that is who does the warnings. How do you come up with those?
The content creator would do them.
So you trust them. What if they don't see it the same way as other people see it? That's why I think you have to regulate it through the government.
Well, listen, as much as I hate this next thing that I'm about to say, the whole thing about a democracy is the majority rules. And then the minorities fight until they get enough minority support. That's how it always has been.
No, majority rules, minorities assimilate. That's the way democracy.
I ain't assimilated to no vagina, so that's not true.
You don't think you assimilated? You assimilated already.
Qantas assimilated to the vagina, but I didn't assimilate to the vagina. So we come from two different decades, time frames. He assimilated. I broke off, did my own thing.
All right.
Final thoughts, DJ.
My final thoughts are rank it.
No, we're not messing with that. That's not coming on today. We'll say that for another episode.
I was gonna rank it.
No, you just throwing everything off. Close it. You gotta close the shit.
No fun. No censorship.
No censorship. You is the most lionest person in the world right now. You the one. You the one that said they need to censor Lizzo on our first episode.
You don't know what he want to do.
You said kids might be watching.
I said private censorship. Gay can't get. He can't even download nothing without getting permission.
Okay, what about
on the phone? The phone is automatic.
What about a parent not in the same? That shit, not even just say they don't even got to be a foster parent or a parent with a kid in the foster system. What about a parent that's doesn't have your same ability to use technology and don't know what the hell to do with that?
You know what?
That ain't on the government to protect
anybody in it. You can get a government phone, man, in this country. I don't want to hear no
all you
excuse.
talking about is personal perspective.
You cannot raise people in a bubble.
A lot of people are different.
No matter what, all I'm saying is it's not as easy. It's not as black as white. It's not as parents do this, government do that.
Close that door.
At the end of the day, you can't raise people in the bubble. Some people will say, people love to say the church kids is the freakiest ones. All the censored. We survived. Our whole life, childhoods was censored. When talk about censored,
that's why your lives is halfway decent.
And look, well, that's why you got a gay one, a transgender one.
Imagine if you a
crippled one. We got how many?
I did not raise you.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking. My life was heavily censored.
I'm psychotic. I'm psychotic. I'm
not gonna speak on my cousins. I let my cousins speak on his siblings.
The all-teen pregnancies and stuff.
Thank you. So I mean, censorship is a double-edged sword. You know, I'm not a fool.
Say that the village raised a child. That was the village doing.